Welcome to Module 4, Lesson 1, Foundations of Literature Review Excellence. I'm Angel Reyes, and today we're beginning our journey into one of the most critical skills in research, conducting effective literature reviews. By the end of our time together in this module, you'll have the tools and knowledge to create literature reviews that truly advance scholarly understanding. Let's start by clarifying what we'll accomplish in this lesson. By the end of our time together, you'll be able to identify the multiple purposes that literature reviews serve in research. And trust me, there are more than you might think. You'll also learn to distinguish between different contexts where literature reviews are developed, because a review for a dissertation looks very different from one for a grant proposal. Finally, you'll analyze how literature reviews actually contribute to knowledge advancement, moving far beyond simple summarization. So, what exactly is a literature review? I want to challenge a common misconception right from the start. A literature review is far more than simple summarization. It's a systematic examination of published research on a topic. But here's the key. It involves critical analysis and synthesis of existing knowledge. Think of it as strategic contextualization of research questions. When done well, it becomes the foundation for scholarly contribution and genuine knowledge advancement. We're not just listing what others have said, we're creating new understanding through thoughtful integration. Here's something fascinating about literature reviews. They have a dual nature. First, they're a process, a systematic approach to finding, evaluating, and synthesizing sources. But they're also a product, that written synthesis that contextualizes research within existing knowledge. What makes this really interesting is that it's an iterative cycle. You're constantly searching, reading, analyzing, and refining. There's this ongoing relationship between discovery and documentation that makes literature reviews both challenging and intellectually rewarding. Now, let's talk about two primary methodological traditions you'll encounter. Systematic reviews follow predetermined protocols with comprehensive searches and explicit criteria. They're highly reproducible, but resource-intensive. Narrative reviews, on the other hand, take a more flexible approach, relying on expert interpretation and thematic organization. The key differences lie in reproducibility, scope, methodology transparency, and resource requirements. Neither is inherently better. They serve different purposes in the research ecosystem. Literature reviews also vary in their context and scope. Standalone reviews are complete scholarly products. Think systematic reviews or meta-analyses that get published as independent papers. Integrated reviews are components of larger research projects, like chapters in your thesis or sections in grant proposals. The crucial point here is purpose alignment. The scope and depth of your review should vary based on its intended function and audience. Let me share the essential purposes that every effective literature review serves. First, establishing knowledge context, showing where we currently stand in understanding a topic. Second, identifying gaps, revealing what remains unknown or understudied. Third, supporting methodology, informing your research design decisions. Fourth, providing frameworks, offering theoretical and conceptual foundations. And fifth, demonstrating scholarship, showing your mastery of field knowledge. These aren't just academic exercises. They're the building blocks of meaningful research. When you establish knowledge context, you're building scholarly foundations. This means mapping the current state of knowledge in your field, tracing the historical development of key concepts, identifying dominant theories and competing perspectives, and positioning your research within ongoing scholarly conversations. Think of yourself as a cartographer, creating a map of the intellectual landscape that others can use to navigate the field. Finding your research niche involves identifying different types of gaps. Empirical gaps involve unstudied phenomena or populations. Theoretical gaps reveal unexplained relationships or mechanisms. Methodological gaps highlight untested approaches or techniques. Integration gaps show where separate bodies of knowledge haven't been connected. Your job is to become a detective, finding the spaces where knowledge is incomplete or missing entirely. Here's where literature reviews become incredibly practical. Through evidence-based research design, you can learn from successful methodological approaches others have used. You can avoid previously identified pitfalls and limitations. You can justify your methodological choices through precedent and identify validated instruments and measurement approaches. This isn't just about knowing what's been done. It's about learning how to do your own research better. Now let's explore how literature reviews are tailored to different purposes and audiences. In thesis and dissertation contexts, you're demonstrating comprehensive field mastery. In grant proposals, you're strategically positioning for funding success. In journal articles, you're providing focused contextualization of specific contributions. In systematic reviews, you're creating exhaustive synthesis for evidence-based practice. Each context demands a different approach and level of detail. In thesis and dissertation contexts, you're demonstrating scholarly readiness. This means comprehensive coverage of relevant literature, critical analysis of theoretical frameworks, identification of significant research gaps, integration with your proposed research methodology, and evidence of independent scholarly thinking. Your committee isn't just evaluating what you know, they're assessing whether you can think like a scholar in your field. Grant proposal literature reviews require strategic positioning for success. You need to make a compelling case for research significance, clearly articulate knowledge gaps, show alignment with funding priorities, demonstrate your expertise as a researcher, and do all of this within efficient use of limited space. Every sentence must work toward convincing reviewers that your research deserves funding. Journal article literature reviews focus on scholarly contextualization. You're positioning your specific research contribution, providing selective synthesis of the most relevant sources, creating clear progression from background to research questions, integrating with your findings and implications, and adhering to strict journal space constraints. Precision and relevance are key here. The world of literature reviews is rapidly evolving with contemporary trends and innovations. We're seeing amazing developments in digital tools, the expansion of open science practices, growth in interdisciplinary approaches, and even the emergence of living reviews that are continuously updated. This evolution is making literature reviews both more powerful and more complex. Technology is revolutionizing how we conduct literature reviews. We have advanced database searching capabilities, sophisticated reference management and organization systems, collaborative platforms for team-based reviews, automated screening and analysis tools, and visualization software for knowledge mapping. These tools can dramatically improve both the efficiency and quality of your literature reviews. Open science is democratizing knowledge access in unprecedented ways. Open access publishing models are expanding the literature available to us. Preprint servers are accelerating knowledge dissemination. Data repositories are enabling secondary analysis. Collaborative platforms are facilitating global scholarship. This means we have access to more knowledge than ever before, but we also need new skills to navigate this expanded landscape. Crossing traditional disciplinary boundaries creates both challenges and opportunities. The challenges include varied terminology, methodological differences, and disciplinary blind spots. But the opportunities are tremendous. Novel insights, more comprehensive understanding, and innovative solutions to complex problems. The strategies for success include broad search approaches, diverse expertise, and methodological flexibility. Let me share the characteristics that distinguish excellent literature reviews. Comprehensive coverage means systematic identification of relevant sources. Critical analysis goes beyond summarization to evaluation and synthesis. Logical organization creates clear structure serving specific purposes. Balanced perspective ensures fair representation of competing viewpoints. Clear contribution involves explicit articulation of how the review advances knowledge. These aren't just ideals, they're achievable standards. As we wrap up this foundational lesson, let's look at your next steps. You need to develop clear research questions to guide your review, master systematic search strategies across multiple databases, practice critical evaluation of source quality and relevance, and learn synthesis techniques that create new insights. In our next lesson, we'll dive deep into developing comprehensive search strategies for efficient literature discovery. Remember, literature reviews aren't just academic requirements. They're powerful tools for advancing human knowledge. When you master these skills, you're not just completing assignments, you're contributing to the great scholarly conversation that drives progress in your field. Let's make your literature reviews count.